breeding, the word breeders, breeding, the importance of really understanding. What I'm going to give you today is a master class about breeders. So if you call yourself a breeder, if you want to buy a dog from a breeder, if you are friends of a breeder, you need to listen to this because it'll teach you what you don't know about breeders. And this is going to be the title of this video, is what you don't know about breeders, because you don't know this, what I'm going to tell you about breeders. And if you knew it, you never heard of it this way. What is a breeder? And if you ask today in 2023, if you listen to this in 2030, it's probably the same. The guys that breed dogs in the neighborhood, you click breeders near me, and you find these men that are making litters of puppies and breeding them together. They call those guys breeders. And these men, they have dogs having sex and having puppies and sell them. And they call that a breeder. Some people will call that a peddler. But even the guys that call them a peddler, they don't have the right definition of what a breeder is. So let me take you back to the beginnings of the process of breeding dogs. Before humans were breeding dogs, there were wolves. Wolves have been on earth many thousands and many thousands of years before humans, the apes, the great ape, the human, actually came to existence. And so they being a pack animal, they actually monogamous, if you want to believe that, a wolf female and a wolf male, they're actually monogamous. And these animals were hunting, and their functionality was to hunt, be in a pack, protect the pack, be together, survive together, and raise the puppies. And when humans came, when the humans started hunting, humans were concerned about these wolves, because they understood these wolves were very good at hunting. And so where did the wolves join the men? The wolves joined the men in many different occasions. It happens through many thousands of years all over Earth, where there were some humans in Europe, some humans in Asia. At the time, there were no humans on America, but they had them on Africa, but mainly the wolves were in the northern part of Europe and Asia. At this particular point, humans found puppies that were abandoned. Maybe the mother got killed, and they found these puppies, and they decided to raise them, and they found out a connection between humans and wolves. Maybe a mother, maybe a wolf that didn't connect with the pack. This happens to dogs as well, by the way. They don't connect with the pack, and they start to wander around, and they just maybe get bullied by other wolves, and drifted away from the pack, and became closer to humans. This is a phenomenon that happened with dogs. And as they got closer to humans started to feed them. And then humans understood that there was a functionality. Let me put this highlighted. Functionality. There was a benefit that humans can have from wolves. And it was the first benefit, it was for the wolves to let them know that there were animals or other things coming near them. So they became guard dogs to protect them, to let them know, to be an alarm. And then later, as time evolved, humans, many thousand years later, understood the wolves became the first biotechnology of humans. You probably never heard any breeder talking like this, but they were the biotechnology of humans. And humans around the world, they started to develop, look at the word I use, develop these dogs, these wolves into dogs. And they went through a process that takes sometimes, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 400 years to go from wolf into a particular dog breed. And it's not easy. It takes a process, and it takes a long time. So in ancient human society, they had a medicine man, just so you have an understanding. And the medicine man was basically what you call today the doctor, okay, in those communities. And they had a smith man, or maybe a father and a son, or maybe two brothers, or a father and two brothers, working to sharpen the knives, to work with iron, to work with copper, whatever they had, or just sharpen the stones and make them sharper so they can make arrows and they can make javelins and stuff like that. Weapons. They were building weapons. Thank you, Thais. So, but you also had a group of men that were working with the highest tech they had, which it was wolves. At this time, they were already dogs, and they were building functionality. In Europe, someplace, they developed these puppies to be with the dogs. There is the Burmese. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but the Burmese, when they were developed them, and I think they still do, the ranchers, they take the small puppy, maybe it's about 2 months old, 3 months old, and they put this white Burmese dog to be around the sheep, and they raise them together like they are sheep. And these dogs develop a sense of love and companionship and brotherhood with the sheep, and they grew up and protect them from predators because they are basically of the same kind. And then there were some men that were masters that developed these special shepherds that understood the working pack, that understood all the sheep and everything else, and they were working with them to protect them. In another part, there was the pharaohs. The pharaohs wanted to make some bets. They wanted to have the fastest dog, and one pharaoh wanted to have the fastest dog, and they had these men that they were full-time employees working very hard to who can create the fastest dog. So they created all these, like the Afghan wolf, the Afghan dog that is a racing dog, all these different breeds. And one breed later on got crossed into another breed to create a different dog. Okay, Ireland and the UK are responsible for creating a lot of the different breeds that we have in America. All these terriers, all these hunting dogs. The British and the Irish were masters of having men that working very hard for all their life to develop these dogs into functionality that will serve humans. Those are breeders. That is the real breeder. Someone that has passion for making the dogs greater than they found them within a particular functionality and being successful on it. Today, what you have is someone that takes a dog from somebody else, something that's popular, you breed them for a profit. That's how
Maybe the breeder of 2023 also have passion. Passion is not enough. The person needs to be a set of standards, values, morals, and it needs to be a person that, apart from passion, has to be knowledge and experience to give results.
You got to have knowledge, but what happens is when monkey see, monkey do. And so we are in trouble now because let's say the American Pitbull Terrier as a breed. There was back in the early 1900s and in the 1800s, Americans had passion for pure breed dogs, pure bloodlines. And although that can go in several ways, what they wanted to say is, I want to have a better dog. I want to have reasons why this dog is better. I want to have a reason why this dog has a particular quality that was guided or given by a man behind this. And that's where these great men came from. These men didn't need to have the famous word kennel. They didn't have to call themselves prime kennels, super kennels, from the death kennels, Nightmare on Elm Street kennels. They didn't have to have these names. Themselves, their family, the Johnsons, the Jackson, Mr. Carver, Mr. Earl Tudor, Mr. Hollingsworth, Mr. Akart, maybe, and Chico Lopez. These men develop bloodlines, develop within the breed. They're men, already within the breed, they're men that develop specific bloodlines. And these bloodlines have the name either of the dog that they created, that is a super dog, or the name of the breeder. In this case, you have, for example, either you have a Carver dog or you have a honey bunch dog. You either have a Crenshaw dog or you have a Jeep dog. You either have a Hollingsworth dog or you have a Mayday dog. And people make all kinds of mistakes. For instance, the dummies will think that the Hollingsworth dog is a red dog. And Mayday, which is actually Hollingsworth Mayday and the biggest creation and the apex of Hollingsworth, they discount it as a different dog. And these kids start to make their own ideas and their own things. And the worst thing that I discover is when you create this sense of community. That is the worst thing that can ever happen. When you have these so-called breeders, they are fake breeders, they get together and they start to share ideas and they lose the sense of competition. And they want to fit into a model, into a cookie cutter where they all protect each other as a community. That's the worst thing. When you have an independent man that is competing for him to be the best by creating the best dogs and people to love his dogs because his dogs are better, that's the pure breed dog. The American Pitbull Terrier. People talk about the standard. So, this dog had the standard, that dog that had the standard, and so on and so forth. Breeders love to talk about the standard in American Pitbull Terrier. And the truth is, when you look at a dog and you say, this dog is the standard, where did this dog got made? You'll find out that the dog was not made with the standard. The dog was made by the set of unwritten rules that are called the framework of building, the framework of working. And that framework in the American Pitbull Terrier is the best dog. The best dog is the only breed. That's the only animal that should be bred continuously, because what American Pitbull Terriers are animals of superiority. One is the winner and the other one is the loser. And I'm talking before we involve these dogs into the pet breeders and pet owners, which are a disaster. Not the pet owners, but the pet breeders are a disaster to the American Pitbull Terrier breed. And because they create the worst dogs. Those are not real breeders. And so what happens is, what you need to have is a sense of competition, and the best guy breeds the best female to the best male. These are powerful decisions. Let me give you a perfect example of two men that within bloodlines bred dogs, and they make these things to happen. I'm going to give you a recent samples. I'm going to give you Mr. Hollingsworth. Mr. Hollingsworth, just like an engineer, needs to make a decision to create a better transmission by using better alloys, using better technology, the angulation of the gears, the design of the transmission, the way of the system, the oiling system, the shifter. So many different things can make a transmission better. A piston engine, you can make it better by having a different size of the rod, making the rod longer, making more compression, turbos, blah, 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 nitros. You can make so many things. Engineers make this decision. The racing fancier participates a little bit in it, but really what makes a difference is the engineer. They make engineering decisions. In dogs, breeders make breeding decisions. When a man is by himself and not in a community of breeders, this man like Hollingsworth goes to a man by the STP and tells him, I'm looking for the Patrick dog that I want to breed to him. And they bring Buck, which was famous and popular to everybody. You know, he was the hottest ticket in America at the time. He said, no, I'm not looking to breed to him. I want to breed to Jesus Cody. And that's how he created Hollingsworth Dolly. And this Hollingsworth Dolly, he went out of his yard to breed to Yellow. And that's why Grand Champion Mayday came from. Now, Mayday himself had a lot of sons. And Chico Lopez seen all these dogs, all the most popular dogs, from Barracuda to 600, also the Licardo, all the females, from Chanel to whatever. He sees them all. And there was a standard on durability. They were a little slow, per se. Some of them have good finishing ability, but they were not perfect. They were a little slow. When Chico Lopez by himself was able to see the dog, not to be confused, repeat, not to be confused with the knockoff called Macho Buck, the dog called Macho one-time winner, bred by Victor Acard. That dog it was a better version of a dog in the eyes of Chico Lopez than Barracuda, than Hunch, than everybody. And he was in a privileged position because he was able to see all these things. So Chico made the breeder's decision to not breed to Barracuda, which was the popular choice. Everybody told him, go to Barracuda. He said, no, I'm going to breed to this dog, my best female. And he bred to that dog. And that's where Awesome Buck and all these legendary dogs of Chico Lopez, all the Ciega the Great, all the Chilindrinas, and all these beautiful things, the Bagman, Mechanic Buck, Athos, all these dogs come from this one breeding decision. So breeding decisions are made by men which they don't believe on the popular decision. They don't believe in what drives you guys today in 2023, 2040, I guess, if they're still alive. And this is what it is, the popular opinion of other people. We don't need to have likes and the support. No. The only thing is what we believe and we want to go for it. So the difference between a breeder in the past or a real breeder of maybe today is that the real breeder is not there. The primary motive is not profits. Instead is to create and to add value, tremendous value. If you ask Chico Lopez, is about superiority, having the superior dog, the better dogs, which falls into the framework of only the best. The best male goes with the best female. And the person that decides what's the best, it is not the common guy. Because one of the biggest problems with the common guy is when he has to choose. I tell people, I said, listen, one guy called me and said, listen, can I choose the puppy I want to have? And I say, that will be the cheaper version. If you want me to choose for you, I'm going to charge you $1,000 extra. He said, why? He said, because you don't have the eye that I have to choose. Your opinion is really not on my level. You see what I'm saying? So these guys today, they are giving too much credit. They're giving too much value to their own limited opinion. And the problems of having a society, they confuse what experience is, by the way. I've been in the dogs for 40 years. I've been in the dogs for 50 years. So they might have a 1 year experience and 49 years of repetition, which is a disaster, by the way. So breeders are the cancer of all the breeds. If you go look, because all the breeds were created by real breeders. And this new jazz of breeders near me or breeders near my location, this new jazz of breeder idea is the one that breeds only for profit. And some of them are nice people, let me tell you this. Nice ladies, nice guys. But being nice is not good enough. Oh, this guy is reputable. Define to me what reputable means. Being a nice person, breeding puppies that are healthy. If you buy a dog, he'll deliver the dog to you. He'll sell you the dog. You will get a dog. That's being reputable. But that's not reputable in quality. That's not reputable in quality. Or maybe the quality you're looking for is not the greatest quality. And everything that surrounds Chico Lopez is the greatest. It's about being the greatest. And he's always what he was. It was the same basics of those same breeders back when the pharaohs and all those people were around. Those community, those society breeders that were necessary to work with the biotechnology that you can transform and modify to give you a particular function in society. We took the American Pitbull Terrier from the 1990s, the very best bloodlines, and we understood the bloodlines is a relationship. And within each bloodline, there is 1, 2, or 3 members, maybe only one out of 100,000 that is the one. The one. And going for the one is more important than being with the bloodline. And once you get the one and you breed them and you start to have an understanding and using your giftedness, which is, you got to be gifted. Once you get to this point in your life, you have to have a gift. Have you ever seen someone that has a gift on building a home, an architect? You know, you have 2 guys that go to school to become architects. One, he learns everything from school. He's a good one. But the great ones, they actually have natural giftedness to them. They were gifted. There was a gift by God genetically to them. They were lucky to have it, and they went to the same architectural school, so they both graduate. But one becomes the guy that makes the house, that makes the something small, and the other one is the one that designed the biggest palace, the one that designed the iconic buildings that last forever. And the difference between them is the one has giftedness. When you have a breeder that has the gift of selecting the best dogs by the rookie eye, and then you add the experience to it, the global experience, you have someone that knows how to grade the dog properly. So whenever you're buying a dog, whether it's an American Pitbull Terrier, a German Shepherd, or whatever, you're going to find two type of breeders. You're going to find the new Jazz, which is a guy that has some idea, some pedigree, some story. Everybody's passionate about their own story. So you'll find that everybody thinks he knows everything. So how do you separate one guy that's a nice guy, that's very passionate? Let me tell you, when I got into dogs, I found the guys that had the Chinaman dogs. They were passionate. Yeah, everybody has a story. You go to this country, they got the best dogs and they got this story. The other one, they got this story. So how do you know who has the one that you need to choose? You go by the numbers, the numbers. These numbers are the ones that will tell you on a basic formula that is compared to what? You compare this to this. Ford versus Chevrolet. Chevrolet versus Dodge. Bugatti versus Ferrari. Volkswagen versus Porsche. Volkswagen versus Ferrari. So you start to compare. Once you compare them, you understand that there is levels to this. And you understand? And you start to understand this. You go back to the customers. You see a guy driving a Porsche. And the guy is fast. He's having a great time. He take it to the racetrack and he wins some trophies. That's a good brand. That's a good thing. You understand? But when it comes to animals, most people, and let me give you an example with horses, most people don't know the difference between a plow horse, a farm horse, a quarter horse, a donkey, and a thoroughbred racehorse, the won the Kentucky Derby or won the Triple Crown. You'll be surprised how some geniuses will say this donkey is a better choice. When they're looking at the picture of the donkey, is a better choice than the rest of the horses. And it's because people's opinions are really their biggest problem. They have no knowledge. I created this video here, this audio, for you to get that understanding. Most people already dropped the video. Most people are not listening to it. They didn't get to the ending of it because they have limited tic-tac mind. The retention span is the retention span of an insect. That's why the application is called tic-tac. You know, like a chicken plucking, tic-tac, 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 like a real freaking chicken, okay? So most people have no brains. And these brainless creatures, one day, they decide to breed the American Pitbull Terrier. And when it becomes apparently legal, they start to create the Blue. And then they create the Bully. Then they create the XL. And when they become illegal because they bred trash dogs, then they move into the Frenchie. And they will keep changing from one dog to the next dog, and they will go like a plague, like cancer, destroying every other popular breed. Because breeders are a cancer of the breed. A real breeder, he's a bad motherfucker that'll take the dogs to another level. My name is Chico Lopez. You can always find me at 123pitbulls.com, chicolopez.com. My number is 806-500-5552. Subscribe to the channel. If you like this type of content, if you're an alpha male, you're not afraid to listen for 23 minutes, a very knowledgeable man to give you this free information that empower you. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can get more videos like this. Drop a comment, say awesome, love it, great, whatever. I'll watch it to the end. And for those that like to pluck, I'm going to have some shorts for you guys to give you a little bit pluck action. I'm a long content type of guy. I'm a real man with a long content mentality. I can actually structure ideas like a real man used to do back in the 1960s. God bless you. Have a good one.